Okay, stream is started. It's on a delay here, so it'll be a little bit. I think I've got this all set up. A little bit of a last minute, last second thing here, but I've had a few minutes to try and get my stuff together, so hopefully we're good to go. Okay. Alright, well, I sure hope I didn't forget anything. So the teams are just getting together, getting ready, and this is going to be my first cast for ISC. I did a couple scrims earlier, but I'm trying to use some overlays now. We'll see how that goes. Kicking things off here, this is my first match ISC. This is both teams' first match of ISC5. Season 5, Week 1. This is a Division B match between Darksea Corsairs and United Mech Enjoyers. These are both newer teams, but they're full of veteran comp players. To some extent, both of these teams are amalgamations of existing competitive teams that, for whatever reason, the players are shuffling around. There's clusters and clumps of 2 or 3 with another 2 or 3 from another comp group, and they formed up these new teams. United Mech Enjoyers on Team 1, that is a lot of names that used to be on mostly, I believe it was G and X, but I think some of these are also formerly from DPS, whereas Darksea Corsairs, I think that's mostly TSLL, but I'm not entirely sure. And then they've picked up a couple other players. Not everybody's even using their the Darksea Corsair new tag. Some of them are still sticking with their older team tags. And we're just waiting for the teams to ready up here. Our first drop is going to be Conquest. It's a 3-cap Conquest format for ISC for all 5 drops. There are 2 caps on the map that teams are not allowed to cap, and 3 caps that are allowed to be capped. The first drop is a lighter tonnage drop. 250 tons is the maximum. Both teams are already at that tonnage. So we're probably going to see some light mech brawling, and it's going to go fast. Typically, teams could pull something a little bit different out of the bag, but with a lighter tonnage drop, with a lower number of players on each team, just 6 players on each team, and then the lower tonnage, generally you see brawling. And the other thing to mention here with the Inner Sphere Coalition tournament is that it's Inner Sphere mechs only. So there's no chassis limit, it's a tonnage limit. There's only 3 caps active, even though 5 are on the map. 2 of them are illegal to touch. And what am I forgetting here? Oh yeah, you can only have 1 hero mech in your drop deck for each of the drops. And then beyond that, there's also a chassis restriction. You can only use 3 of a chassis throughout the entire match. So if you use 3 fire starters on the first drop, you can't use any more fire starters. If you use 1 on the first, you can use a 2nd on the 3rd and a 3rd on the 3rd, but then you don't have any fire starters left for drop 4 and 5. So we'll see a little bit of players. The teams are going to be forming their drop decks around these restrictions. We'll see what they elect to do. Okay, teams are just coming in now. I hope I got my logos on the correct side. So we're looking at the red team here, Dark Corsairs. They have 2 Crusaders and 2 Javelins, 1 Spider, and a Shadowhawk. So they're using up some of their Crusaders right away, right here at the start. This is going to be a Brawl machine gun deck. I'm not going to go through the builds because we're going to be into action relatively quickly. On the Mech Enjoyer side, we have a 1 Crusader, 3 Blackjacks. One of them is the hero, the Arrow. That is a machine gun variant. The other 2 are going to be some form of laser vomit. And then they have a Flea and a Spider. So they do have 2 lights as well. But they've gone a little bit heavier on the tonnage with more mediums. But they've only taken the 1 Crusader. Getting some early trades out here. Yeah, machine guns are not going to hit that UAV at that range. Both teams are playing toward the top. The Dark Corsairs are positioned at the base of the ramp. They're looking at maybe pushing. Let's get some builds here. While the teams are a little bit less active. We've got large pulse, so they do have some poke on that. Javelin, just pure brawl. I'm going to assume they're both the same. Small laser, mead pulse, so a little bit of range, but not really. I mean, mead pulse, typically you see, well, here we go. They're going to push now. So they're going down the ramp, and we're going to look at it here. Mech Enjoyers, they've got the range. They're taking a receive here. They've got a lot of large pulse lasers coming out of those Blackjacks. So far, nobody's legged yet. Oh, there, the Spider got legged. Interesting that the Spider is the first target. On the Darkseer Corsairs, they have a second mech going down. This push is not looking good. There's a Crusader that is legged 63%. He'll be down, and he is. So what we've got left here is, well, okay, we got 1 casualty so far. The Crusader off of Mech Enjoyers also went down. But it's a 3v5 right now, and the percentages, they don't look overly in Dark Corsairs' favor either. So Blackjack goes down. Well, this Crusader is doing a good job shielding that dead leg. He is putting in some work. We also have, the Spider is legged from Sir Epic Pawner, so he goes down. So, I mean, the Crusader is doing an excellent job of shielding that rear leg. But ultimately, he does get taken down when the reinforcements come around from behind. I'm just going to take a look at this Blackjack. He looks, yeah, the Blackjack is also legged. So that was a relatively close duel there on the Crusader. Chicken Man was just doing an excellent job shielding that leg. But ultimately, this drop has gone the way of Mech Enjoyers. So it was a push into a receive. And they did hold up on the push. They did not go right away as Darkseer Corsairs, but they lost 1 mech legged almost instantly. And the second mech went down shortly after. And there's a match ID. If the teams did not manage to grab it, they can come back here and take it. So yeah, just under 3 minutes there for the entire drop. So damages, well, we've got a couple double Ds. You usually expect to have at least 1 on each team just because the called target dies so fast. Even nice spread damage off the Blackjacks. Fleet put in, well, 4 kills with that 200 damage, so that's a little bit of cleanup there. But the called targets go down fast. Crusader doing a good job coming up with some serious damage, but the initial push lost the Spider's leg right off the hop, and the Javelin went down shortly after. So that's the... Yeah, if you hit the legs when mechs are pushing in, you can counter the brawl, but you have to have that accurate shots. And the Div B, sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. Alright, teams are now readying up for the second drop. They're going to be playing on Frozen City. I believe the tonnage is 360 tons for this drop. So that's 110 tons more than the previous drop. That does give a fair bit more tonnage available to the players for larger mechs. So we'll probably see more heavies and fewer of the mediums. I'm not sure. Most teams, they generally still want to be taking at least 2 lights, I think, on this drop. And you could play a push deck on Frozen City, or you can play a range deck. We'll see what the teams decide to do here. Alright, I'm going to pop up a map strat here quick. Hopefully I don't mess something up. So, going over the previous drop, I mean, there's not much point. Basically, we had team 1, I believe it was. No, it was team 2 that did the push, right? The Dark Sea Corsairs were doing the receive. You know what? I'm not even keeping track of this. I should be keeping track of the total score. And I already forgot who won that first job. Well, whoops. Somebody else here can track that for me, hopefully. That's what a co-caster is for. I make them do all the short-term memory details. I believe it was Chicken Man was the Crusader doing the final stand, so that would mean that Mech Enjoyers had that win. I should put a scoreboard up, right? You know what? I can't move that text around the way I want it to. Teams are... Okay, just a second here. Well, we'll forget about the scoreboard. I'll try to get that fixed for next cast. Okay, so Frozen City Classic. So we've got 360 tons. So there's a possibility that these teams could play range, and we're going to see. I'm just going to mark off some caps that don't exist. Gamma cap does not exist. Whatever you think it looks like, it doesn't exist. Just block that off. And then the other cap is Sigma. Those two caps are not active. Players are not allowed to take those, and if they do, there are some circumstances that occur. So the way that this works, Team 1's got a pretty good range positions that they could take up over a couple of spots. And then on the other side, you've got, there are some range spots as well that could be taken. Overwatching a little bit on Theta, a little bit further back, they could even push up a little bit. But there's a pretty good push path here that Team 2 has access to, where they can come up around Epsilon and do a push through the city. And we'll see whether this is going to be a Team 2 pushing it, a Team 1 receive, or both teams go for long-range trading. Both are equally viable. I would be surprised if we saw a Team 1 push, but there is a possibility of Team 1 going for a push through, I believe it was called Jenner Alley, because back in the day on the previous Frozen City, but you can do a push along the back end. You get across the open pretty early if you just rush it. Maybe you don't even get spotted, and then you get up and you can push through the dropship. So if Team 2 elects to play range, it's possible Team 1 can do a push on that. And we're just waiting for the teams to ready up. They've got the 360 tonnage, probably will be readying shortly. And I remember to turn that map off before we had a radio cast here. So I'm doing this all off of one monitor, which is really not great in terms of overlays. I don't have a stream preview. I can't watch the lobby while I'm all tabbed over to the map strat. So this is high risk here, and I'm really hoping I don't do a radio cast. So just the quality of my stream is going to be a little bit lower than some of the other MWO casters, but I'm casting here because nobody else is available. So yeah, here we go. We're dropping into to drop 2, and we're getting things started. Alright, teams are loading in. Taking a look at MechWarrior's drop decks as the dropships are arriving here. We have a Battlemaster, Moto Chi, that's going to be ER Large, and probably Light Gauss ER Peep. I'm going to check that quick here. Yep, Light Gauss ER Peep. So that is trade mechs. They've got a quick draw that is relatively moving fast here, and then a Dervish and a pair of Vulcans. They are looking at pushing. I'm guessing the Dervish here, I'm thinking it's going to be MRMs. And no, it is quad ER Large with rockets. Okay, those ER Large are going to be the arms. I don't like those arm mounts. And then 4 ER Large out of the quick draw. So they are relatively quick moving, except for their 2 assaults. But they are playing range. Now, on Team 2, which is Dark Corsairs, we have a solid push coming out here. They are using up 3 Himoto Chis and a Crusader, a Flea, and a Firestarter. So I know these Himoto Chis. I believe I scrimmed against this. And yes, they are going to be bringing AC2, AC5, all 3 are the same build with a couple light PPCs. So they are pushing with them. So we have a push deck against a ranged deck. And these are long-range traders. They're not really... They don't have a lot of DPS for receiving. There are not a lot of autocannons with them. With that Himoto Chi running the Light Gauss ER Peep, and then all of the ER Larges out of the Battlemaster, Dervish, and Quick Draw, they do not have a lot of sustained DPS. Now, that is a 5 ER Large Battlemaster, not a 6 ER Large Battlemaster, so it does have a little bit better cooling and probably a higher top speed than the standard 6 ER Large Battlemaster does. And DJ is playing that. Oh, actually, I played on a team with the DJ. I completely forgot or missed that he was on MechWarriors now, so let's see what he does here with that Battlemaster. Now, they're taking damage on the cross, MechWarriors is. That is what the Himoto Chis are doing. They have range and sustained DPS. So you can push with them, but you can also trade with them. And MechWarriors has successfully completed the rotation across the chasm. But they have no caps at the moment, so they are going to have to find a way to get a cap and to continue to deny Theta at the same time, which is probably easier said than done. That said, I don't think MechWarriors is actually going to have much difficulty controlling the caps, as they do have a pair of Vulcans competing with the Firestarter and the Flea. So they have more tonnage than the Light Squad. Now, DJ's Battlemaster is actually at 58%. He's been open CT for a little bit here. He's probably an XL engine, so that side torso being open is also a problem. Now, the Hollow's Crusader is also heavily damaged. He's legged, though, so he won't be able to push anymore, but he's got those heavy PPCs he can trade at range. Small lasers aren't going to be doing him a whole lot of good without that leg, but yeah, okay, and we've got heavily wounded Flea. The Flea is at 66%, so okay, first casualty goes down. Battlemaster, he took a lot of damage, but he is gone now. Carbon Fire in the Himoto Chi looks heavily wounded. He's lost his ER Peeps, but he's kept the Light Gauss. And the Flea is down, so he doesn't have to worry about the back shots. And that'll make cap control a little bit easier for MechWarriors now that the Flea is... They still have not taken cap. Now, caps are not a major concern because there is only one cap ticking away. So I don't think they need to prioritize it over damage at this point. And currently damage is going in MechWarriors' favor, but eventually the caps will become a concern, and that's where that Flea still being alive would be very beneficial. Now, the Deep Sea Corsairs has pushed into a location, but they've stalled out now, and we have no movement from them. Okay, there we have the cap being taken. Kappa, they sent one of their mechs to the back, and now they have a cap. So that'll slow down the rate at which they're losing on caps. These guys are so stacked over here from Darksea Corsairs that a couple strikes could do some serious work. Like that Firestarter, open side torso, open leg. Homodo Chi looks like it might have been some heat damage, or maybe it's just rear strike, but legs open there, so you don't want to push into the open with that. Another Homodo Chi is missing a leg. The Crusader's gone down. Side torso destruction, so it wasn't the leg that was the kill there. Again, probably doing a decent job shielding. Yeah, so many leg mechs here. Wow. So there is no capacity left to push across the open, and they only have the Firestarter as their lone light. And if that Firestarter goes down, they have no ability to get caps anymore. So that Firestarter needs to keep its leg alive, but I don't know what they're gonna do here. They do pick up another kill, and they do have the cap lead, but they've lost Theta, or the Theta has been taken. They haven't been able to not deny it. And that is big, because now it's a 2 cap to 1 situation. So they're stuck without the ability to push in a non-favorable trading location, or they've got a single angle on the trades, and that is problematic. And now they are down in caps. Now Hydrokyle over here, he's extending the trade angles, and that's why it's so bad that Dark Corsair is trapped in one location. Now they're trading from there's 2 different angles that are poking in on them. The cover's not nearly as effective. They're trying to widen out with Chicken Man pushing the Homodo Chi to an alternative piece of cover. He's like the only one with the leg other than their light. So he has to make that push, but he's lost his light PPCs. They might be running low on ammunition as well by now, depending how much they did or did not bring for a 6v6. And then if their legs had ammo as well, that they might be running low on ammo. So this is looking heavily in favor of Mech Enjoyers, and straight up, I don't know what Dark Corsairs can do. They've done the correct thing on moving their one Homodo Chi that still has both legs into an alternative trading location to try and extend that trading angle. And he's also covering the Epsilon cap. Their last cap is what he is. He's in a position where he can kind of sort of cover it a little bit. Yeah, the quick draw 71%, but he's only open on the arms, Hydrokyle, so there's a lot of health left on that mech. Vulcan's almost fresh. I mean, the legs are red armor, so I'm not going to call that fresh, but he's not about to die. Dervish isn't looking so good. He's lost his arm. He has probably an XL engine, so that side torso being open is a major concern. But equally concerning is the fact that his last remaining arm is red and open. So if he loses that, he's down to rocket launchers, which are not an effective weapon system at that range. Another casualty on Dark Sea Corsairs. They didn't succeed at getting the push before they got legged, and now they are stuck in a corner, slowly dying. Yeah, so Firestarter, both legs are open. Well, here we have Chicken Man. He's at 32%, and he's getting jumped, so that is going to be the end of him. A bit of a last stand situation here for the remaining Dark Corsairs, and realistically, that's what this has been for the past, I don't know, like 2-3 minutes. As soon as their legs were taken out from their assaults and they were pinned in the corner there, and then with the death of the flea, they really don't have any good options available to them. So it's the final push is coming in here from Mech Enjoyer. They're coming from multiple angles. The Dervish is coming straight up the center. I don't know if he still has his arm. No, he doesn't look like he does. So all he's got is some rocket launchers, and I don't know if he would have fired them. I doubt he got into range, so he probably still has those. But that's not a real threat unless if it's in their backs. But the remaining mechs from Mech Enjoyers, I mean, yeah, they're quite healthy still. And the last one standing is the Firestarter. He still has both legs. He does not see the Dervish coming. And there was the rocket shot, and the rockets didn't get the kill, but Sir Hamrod did get the rocket shot off. So that was something that we managed to see here that made things a little bit more interesting for him for the last second. And decisive victory from Mech Enjoyers. I know that push with Himoto Cheese can work, and we have some serious damage coming out from Chicken Man. He managed to get that alternative trading angle, being the only Himoto Chi with remaining legs, but the push got stalled when the mechs got legged, and that was pretty much all she wrote. So Hydro Kyle, he's got the quick draw, he had good trading angles, he's got the 1,000 damage, the big 1k mark, and a pair of kills to go with it. Dervish put out 700 damage before losing his arms. The Vulcans, their damages are lower, but they have a pair of kills each. And even the Battlemaster, who went down a little bit early as the focus target, and it's hard to keep that Battlemaster CT alive, the Battlemaster has a decent damage as well. Like, this is, basically everyone has good damage, other than the flea got picked there, but it's the getting legged, and that's where the whole thing started to fall apart. So we are now 2-0 for Mech Enjoyers, but we're switching sides and replaying the same drop and with alternative teams. And you know, that's an interesting aspect of this league is that they're flipping sides and playing the same map with the same tonnage, so you can make that adjustment and also, if one side's stronger than the other, you have the opportunity to then take your win for the other side. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch my team logos onto the other side as we're watching teams switch sides here. And I just saw that my logos are covering up some information here, so I'm going to try to change up their size a bit. Alright, completely amateur with the overlay here, so I apologize for having covered up some of the player names and mech variants there in the previous two casts, I guess. And hopefully I've adjusted it to a more appropriate location on the screen now for the upcoming cast. Alright, so just running through the previous match, so we basically did have a push from the Team 2 side, which was the Dark Corsairs. They had, sorry, trying to get a red arrow here. They did a push up around past Gamma, and then they kind of just stalled out at the Theta. Well, I don't know what's a good mount. It's a mountain. We'll call it the big hill. It's not really big hill. I don't know what to call it. So they stalled out at a popular trade location. Normally it's a good trade location, but if you're trading off a single angle, things kind of fall apart. Now on the Mech Enjoyer Team 1 side, they did initially send their assaults forward, but they also sent their mediums across. And when their assaults saw what was coming, they got the scout on that. They quickly booked it out of the where the push was coming from, wrapped around and pulled up to where their mediums were, except their mediums extended further past the dropship. And then you've got a trade location in the what should we call it? It's a city, but is it upper city or they're both upper city? Well, whatever. The traditional Team 2 dropship side city, and then also further back toward the dropship, you had some mediums, and they managed to pick off a bunch of legs. Taking legs off a push generally means you stop it and you manage to stall out long enough to get the win. Eventually, typically against a push. They also sent mediums across to harass from the back flank. Yeah, as soon as the legs were gone, it was unfortunately relatively over for Dark Sea Corsairs. They did what they could in order to try and turn it back. They rotated after the push stalled and a couple of their mechs were legged. They did rotate their one assault mech out of the single trade location to try and open up a second angle of fire, which is very important. But it was a little bit too late, and that was the only mech that, the other two were. I think the Crusader was legged as well. So two Emoto Chis and the Crusader all got legged, and that's too many mechs trading from a single tiny piece of cover. And that leads to the loss. The fleet tried to make a play. The fleet got picked off. If it had made the play, stayed alive, back capped Kappa or something, then maybe things go different. But just you can't win them all. And when your assault mechs that are pushing get legged, then it typically, yeah. I've seen that push work though, so it's not a bad push, and it's not. I don't think it's a problem with Dark Corsairs' execution on that push either. I think it's just that Mech Enjoyers, United Mech Enjoyers, they knew how to receive it and they executed that plan appropriately. So well played for Mech Enjoyers. The final kills, damage percentages, somewhat close. Even with the trading off of a single trade angle, the Dark Sea Corsairs did put out a fair bit of damage. So we'll see what happens now that the teams have switched sides. I do feel that the one team has a stronger position on this map. One other thing to note here is that the okay, mechs are coming in. So I'm just going to say that the Emoto Chis have all been used up for Dark Sea Corsairs, who are the blue team for this drop. They are bringing an Osiris this time, plus a second Osiris. They're using all three dropships, okay? Two Stalkers, a Thunderbolt, and a Rifleman. So this is going to be a ranged trade deck as well. Or sorry, last drop they were pushing. Yeah, 60 large Stalker 5S, very classic build. Rifleman, DB, he will be... I'm thinking this is going to be 4 large, but it could be large lasers. Yeah, it's 4 large. Another Stalker, 6 large. And Thunderbolt is triple ERP. That is going to be toasty. There's a cork on it. You can fire it. Yeah, here we have exactly a mirror situation. The teams have arrived at a conclusion that is pretty similar. Well, no, they are looking a little bit more tradey. 60 large, light Gauss ERP. So these are not the mid-range, long-range DACA hybrid Emoto Chi DPS boats, and they've got more speed again, just like the previous drop, where they had the ER large Dervish and the ER large Quick Draw. Yes. And one Vulcan, because that is their third Vulcan, so they've, as their fourth Vulcan, they've taken an Assassin. Probably running a similar... Yeah. Oh, 3 ER large, okay. And these were Stumbles PPC light machine gun. Okay. I don't think I checked the Vulcan build last time. I just assumed they were medium pulse, but medium pulse on IS is not that powerful at the moment, so... Yeah, very similar drop deck in some aspects for MechWarrior as the previous game, and they're playing it with they looked like they were pushing, but with those builds they are not going to be pushing. So we've got a single angle of trading here coming out of Darksea Corsairs. They're all stacked up on that piece of terrain again. Probably just looking to see whether or not they need cross. If there's a push, then they need cross, but with the builds they're seeing, oh, these Osiris's, what are they doing? I'm concerned here for House. I don't think he knows what he's running into. Okay, he's popped a UAV. Now his buddy didn't follow him in, which is probably the right decision, but House needs to get out. And House has successfully escaped. That could have gone badly, but no significant damage landed. And now there's a UAV that telegraphs every single build. They have perfect information as to what they're facing by now. They've crossed one mech, the Thunderbolt. No, that is the it's the Rifleman. The 4 large Rifleman is crossed. But you see the 3 mechs stacked up on one piece of terrain. They're getting each other's ways. They're bumping into each other. One guy can't shoot because the other guy steps in front of him. So they need to extend their trade angle even further than just pushing one mech across. And they're not going to get pushed here. They've got that information now with that UAV. So I do believe they need to... it's nice. It's a very nice hill. I like that hill too, but somebody needs to allow their teammates to get better trades by doing similar to what Sir Epic Pawner's done here and rotate off of that hill. So cap-wise, Darksea Corsairs did take a cap. They have 16 points, but they currently... Oh, they're taking cap at the moment, so they send a mech to back cap. Cap is outside of the combat zone on this map, so you don't necessarily want to take it at the beginning. When there's a quiet moment, you send someone over and you grab it and start taking that up. So caps are in favor of MechWarrior, as they did take the Epsilon cap away from Darksea Corsair. They're now going to make an attempt at Theta. This is big, because Theta is usually generally difficult to get, but with the mechs on the rock being suppressed with a strike and incoming fire, the Vulcan has managed to sneak the cap. So now it's 2 caps in favor of MechWarrior. Now they are down on percentages. The Dervish is heavily wounded. I'm going to go look, see if he still has his arm. Okay, Dervish is from the back open on the side torso. From the front there's still armor, but that is probably an XL build given the speed. So that is serious damage, and the quick draw also is heavily wounded here from Villain. Open CT and open side torso, and he's lost an ER large. It's been crit out. And that probably is an XL build as well. That is taking some more damage. That is trades are definitely going in the favor of Dark Corsairs, even with the limited trade angles. And they have now, they're moving one of their Osiris is going for Theta. I'm not sure where the other one is. The second Osiris is on a different mission elsewhere. Now, the decap has occurred.
Resource point Theta is ours.
And the Osiris is getting out. Legs are red but armored, and they do have the Theta cap now. So it's 2 caps to 1 in favor of Darksea Corsairs, but MechWarrior has the cap lead. House is smoking over here, but they're still moving like they have both legs. Yeah, so one leg is open yellow, the other is red armor. So those Osirises are a little bit important here, as the caps do seem to be somewhat relevant. So they have moved a Stalker across to join the Rifleman. They now have slightly better trade angles. These are extreme range trades. This is going to be probably over 1,000 meters, so they're not going to be doing full damage at this distance, but that isn't their primary concern. They're just looking to make sure that they're dealing more damage than they're taking. Stalker with an open side torso from DJ. MechWarrior is losing out on the trades. Okay, Dervish has lost an arm, so that's at least 2 ER large gone off of that mech. Oh, he's halved, so that is not an XL engine. We have confirmation of that now. But his heating his cooling is going to be quite poor. Although he has half his weaponry, so maybe it's not an issue. The quick draw from Villain also down one laser, so not getting full damage out, and they cannot take much more damage on those mechs. One of the Vulcans at 60%. Looks like he still has his legs. Yeah, open everywhere though. Probably from strikes because it's from the rear. He is not making any effort at trading, which is probably a smart thing. But ultimately, they are going to have to make a move at some point, Mech Enjoyers, because the caps are starting to flip over back toward Dark Sea Corsairs' favor. But there's not a lot of percentage left on Mech Enjoyers to make a move here. So it's basically slow trades. Hollow sitting at 83%, positioned pretty far back, probably just staring at a corner. Sir Epic Ponder's a little bit further forward, 84%, plus it's a rifleman. Might be XL, might not be XL. We may or may not find out. So they're relatively healthy, but they're not doing a lot of shooting, probably because Mech Enjoyers in their heavily damaged mechs, they're probably not peaking very much anymore. There's no one on Mech Enjoyers that really has armor to spare. I mean, the Dervish, yeah, like, it's stalled out, not a lot of action, but the reason for that is because Mech Enjoyers really, nobody on their team is feeling comfortable making a move. Like, their lights are not looking for a cap, their traders are not looking for shot. Not sure what they're going to do here. They do have a little bit more time to make a decision, but ultimately, now that the caps have passed, and Dark Sea Corsairs still pretty far away from that 750 victory total, but there's only 6 minutes left. I mean, 6 minutes is a lot of time, but at some point in the next, I don't know, 3 minutes or so, Mech Enjoyers is going to have to make a move in order to get the kills and be able to take the caps in order to stop the cap victory from Dark Sea Corsairs. There is a win condition on the field right now, and it is that Theta cap. And I don't see a way. There we go, first casualty, it is the Dervish. Not overly surprising, seeing as it was already halved and with an open orange CT, I think last I checked it. But pretty much everyone on Mech Enjoyers, like, we're looking at nobody's above 62%, and on the other side, for Dark Sea Corsair, the lowest they have is 66%. So this is heavily, heavily in favor of Dark Sea Corsairs, and they have the cap lead in addition. There we go, second casualty, the quick draw goes down. And, I mean, Mech Enjoyers, at this point, they've run out of time. They don't have the health, they don't have the positions, their cap points are not in their favor. They needed to make a move. I don't know if they were capable of making a move given the percentages, but this is a slow end that is currently occurring. They have 3 mechs remaining. None of them are sufficiently healthy. Attempt here at a stealth maneuver of some sort, but it's one Vulcan versus the world, so, and the riflemen somehow knew that they were coming. Must have gotten some scouting intel from one of the Osiris's or something. I mean, yeah, maybe there was a UAV up that I missed. Stepping into a cap, but it doesn't matter, and they weren't in there long enough for it to trigger. So they're making an attempt, but they're just too far down. I mean, better to go down fighting than just fade away, but this is indeed the last stand of Mech Enjoyers. Their lone hope is this Vulcan, and it turns out he cannot 1v2 from 40%. I know it's shocking, but that would have been epic. And yeah, Homoto Chi, it's stripped. No weapons remaining from carbon fire. So DJ 37%. Let's hype it up here a little bit. All right, DJ, all he has to do is pull off like 5 kills and grab 2 caps in the next 1.5 to 2 minutes. So, all right, DJ, we're watching you. All eyes on DJ. DJ's got a pair of Osiris's coming up on. Oh, they lost some. They lost some ear larges. DJ is down to 1 ear large on their 26% stalker. Carbon Fire got picked off by the Osiris's from behind. No big loss. He didn't have any guns. And DJ doesn't have any guns either now. Well, yeah. So, where did it fall apart? Honestly, I think that the strat was solid. The execution just was not there. And again, this was a victory by, was it Team 1? The team that gets the higher, I believe it's a favorable spawn. I do think that this map is a little bit one-sided, and even without factoring in the caps, and the caps again, we'll see how the results go, but I think it is a little bit of a favorable side that Darksea Corsairs had here for this drop. Looking at damages, looks pretty. Lights have low damage. It's a long-range game. They didn't really have any targets to fight. Kind of just clean up kills at the end. We've got 760, 680. The Sir Epic Ponder and the Rifleman got the flanking angle, so that was favorable for their trading. Chicken Man's putting up some big numbers. From Mech Enjoyers, the quick draw, that is a low damage total. I'm not sure what happened, but I guess they just didn't find the good trades. I question the choice of an ear large dervish. I don't know what its quirks are, but it's not the mounts and the arms. I can't see it being a very good trade mech, unless if it has some insane quirks, which it very well might be. I have not looked at ear large dervishes. A little bit surprised the quick draw didn't get better trades, but I think maybe the dervish quick draw were a little bit too far ahead of their team, and that ended up being detrimental for. They took too much damage early game, maybe peaking like 2v4 or something before the Stalker, and the Moto-Chi moved up closer. So, yeah, I think that map is a little bit favored for the one team. I'm just gonna state it. So we have now with Mech Enjoyers, they have a 2-1 lead in the series in the match, and it's up to Darksea Corsairs if they can pull off a reverse sweep now on River City, or if this is it's still Mech Enjoyers' match to lose. They have lost a drop. They still lead in the match, and I think that drop that they lost is partially due to the team side being favorable. Okay, let's put up a map strat here quick for River City Conquest. Okay, River City Conquest, 3 caps again. So this is different than previous ISCs that I've played in, and that the Gamma cap and the Sigma cap are the deactivated caps, and I believe in previous ISCs it's been the Cap and Epsilon that have been deactivated on this map, so the airport side is not as strong as it was previously. So I'm not sure if we're even going to see a team using airport. So airport's a strong trade position. Typically you'd see a team set up in the airport around the Gamma cap and just do long-range trading against a team that has set up in the upper city around the Epsilon cap. But since Gamma is not a cap that you can control, we might see teams play to a different section of the map. Kappa is not somewhere you want to put long-range traders, so Team 1 could do a push deck, because Team 2 might very well sit up in the high seat around the Epsilon cap. So we could see a push deck out of Team 1 where they push around the Citadel past Sigma, which they cannot take, and then toward Epsilon, or maybe they push through past Citadel into the water. You don't really want to be in the water, but there is a ramp, so maybe. I don't think you want to push there. They could also just push over Theta and then through Park. I mean, there's push options. Trade options, I'm not seeing as many favorable ones. They could just play airport and pretend that the cap doesn't matter. But if you're playing a trade deck, eventually the caps do matter. Now, from the Team 2 side, they could just sit in the high city. very favorable trade positions there. Not quite as good as airports, I don't think, but they do have a cap, so that's a huge advantage. And the other option is they could do a push and come around on the push into the airport along the bridge or beneath the bridge and hope that there's something in airport for them to kill. They could also take airport for themselves and have I don't think you can have both high city by epsilon and airport by gamma. So probably don't want to push across and take trade positions. I think you want to push across and kill the traders. Now tonnage has gone up. I believe it is 470 tons, 450 or 470. Somebody who knows the rules, and maybe I should know the rules. Well, they have more tonnage, so we're going to see assault mechs. I can't tell you how much tonnage, and I'm not going to look up the rulebook right now at this second. I'm trying to keep an eye on the match to see if it's kicking off. But you will see more assault mechs on this, and both teams, they've used up some of their Moto Cheese, but they have not used their Chargers. And the Charger's a mech that you might actually see in ISC. Drop decks are a little bit more brawly, and then the Charger's a very strong mech. So neither team's used Chargers, but they have used up a number of Crusaders, and the Crusaders pair up nicely with the Chargers. So I'm not sure what we're going to see here. There are some fire starters left. I know some teams have used some of their fire starters. I haven't been tracking the mechs very strongly. Some of the stalkers have been used up. I believe, are both teams out of stalkers? I think both teams have used 2 stalkers. I'm not 100% on there, but I think there are some stalkers left, but most of them are gone. There's been some battle masters used up. I don't think you would use a battle master unless if you were out of stalkers in your drop deck. So I'm expecting it was mech enjoyers that used the battle master. So I think they've only used 1 stalker in addition to the battle master. So I'm expecting they're going to use 2 stalkers on one of these River City drops. Maybe one on each, maybe both on one. I don't know, but they're going to use up their stalkers because they used a battle master. You wouldn't touch a battle master, well, unless they want the speed from it. And on that drop, the speed was important for the rotation. But I'm expecting they're going to use a couple more stalkers. From Darkseid Corsairs, I think they might be out of stalkers, or they've used up. I know they used at least 2. They might have 1 left. So we're probably going to see Annihilators. The Motor Cheese are already used up for Darkseid Corsairs. Mech Enjoyers used up 1 or 2. So I'm not sure what we're going to see here. Some of the premium trade mechs are gone. They still have all of their Annihilators, and with this higher tonnage and more stationary positions, maybe we see Annihilators. Alright, teams are readying up. I better get this map off before I forget about it. Okay, I don't want to do a radio cast, so I gotta remember to do things when I remember them. Okay, so 420. They locked in at 420, so I guess 420 is the maximum tonnage here. 420 for 6 players. It's a lot of tonnage. You do see Annihilators, but we'll find out what happens here. They're still going to want to run at least 1 light mech for cap control, and that gives them more tonnage to use on larger mechs. Or they could go with a lot of heavies. Alright, here we go. Teams are launching in. Alright, for those of you joining us, it is currently... Oh no, oh no. Well, I buggered my camera. How do I fix this?
hold the resource point. Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
Okay, oh no. Okay, I messed up my camera, and that might mean that I have to cast from in a mech cockpit, which causes all kinds of problems. I'm very sorry, people. I know there's a way to fix this, I just don't remember what it is.
Command confirming that we have possession of Kappa.
Okay, well, we might do a first-person cast here because of my camera being broken.
Resource point Theta is ours.
So we've got, what is this? This would be, this is Dark Corsairs because Royal Star's on the team. Okay, they've taken a 2-cap lead here with their Flea. Merc J's piloting that with small lasers and E-Pulse. DJ is on MechWarrior. He's playing ER Large, so this is the other team. 60 ER Large Stalker, yeah. Phoenix Hawk, small lasers. This is also going to be... I'm going to try to go back to the spectator view. Yeah, spectator view is still broken, but what I can tell you here is the mechs quickly. We have Corsair 7A out of Sir Epic Pawner on the Darkseid Corsairs. 3 Grasshopper 5Ps, those are probably going to be ER Large as well out of Dark Corsairs. They've got a Flea and 1 Banshee 3E, so that is a lot of laser vomit. I'm curious about the Corsair build, but we'll figure that out when we're in first person in a little bit here. And they've got 1 Fleet for cap control, so they only have the 1 light mech. Now on MechWarriors we've got a Corsair 7A as well, interesting. Their last Stalker, I believe, out of Sir Ramrod, Stalker 4N, that could be large lasers or could be ER Large. And they have 2 Phoenix Hawks, 2 Stalkers, 1 Corsair, 2 Phoenix Hawks, and their last Crusader. Okay, so yeah, that's also a ranged trade deck, but they've got a little bit more cap control out of those 2 Phoenix Hawks versus the 1 Flea. And I'm very interested to see what the trades are going to be like. Now, because I went into first person, the percentages for the mechs might not be accurate, the caps might not be accurate. All kinds of problems happen when you go in first person, but I can't move my camera very well because I buggered it, and I don't remember how to fix that.
Target spotted. Online. Target spotted.
Yeah, no, camera's still broken. So we have large pulse ER meat. So this is mid-range vomit. Grasshopper 5P.
Artillery strike online.
Corsair is Gauss ER large.
Artillery strike.
There's another mid-range vomit grasshopper.
Artillery strike.
So 3 mid-range vomit grasshoppers, Gauss ER large, Corsair, plus the Flea,
Artillery strike.
and then the Banshee is their last mech here.
We've already gained a quarter of the resources.
Light Gauss and triple PPC. Okay, so that's a big alpha.
Artillery strike. Activated.
But with those grasshoppers, they're going to be wanting to push here from Dark Corsairs. They're stalled out at the Citadel. Oh, my camera's fixed. Whatever happened, it fixed it. So great, we're back to proper casting, just with probably an incorrect scoreboard. Alright, thanks for sticking with me through the cast. I will learn my lesson eventually and make sure not to touch any buttons before I hear music. Okay, so this Crusader positioned up in the upper city, it's not going to be a Brawl Crusader, it's going to be, oh, ER Large with small lasers. Okay, I thought it might be laser vomit, but that is ER Large, so it does have range. They took High City, they've denied Theta. Yes, each team is going up by 1 point, so assuming my scoreboard is even remotely accurate, MechWarrior is currently attempting to take Theta to regain Cap's advantage.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
It'll take a while for that to tick out, because it looks like that Darkseid Corsairs already got 260 points to MechWarrior's 100. So that is a bit of a significant lead. And the percentages are also in favor of Darkseid Corsairs. Now, MechWarrior is up in the series 2-1. Wow, Phoenix Hawk just took a big hit, 71%. I do not see anything missing off of that mech. Rear side torso took a big hit there from something. So that Phoenix Hawk is still alive, but heavily damaged.
Resource point Theta is
So
ours.
these Phoenix Hawks now, the 7Ss, that probably is going to be the build for both of the Phoenix Hawks with 2 Snubbos PPCs and then small lasers for close range DPS, so can kind of pop-tart and also brawl. But the pop-tarting, you want to be like maybe 400 meters, even 500 you could probably do meaningful damage, just not anywhere near the amount that you would need to win a trade. But with the speed, you can take angles, you know. What do we have here? Okay, this is an ER PPC Crusader, right? I do believe I remember that. Yes, I do. Okay, so he's looking for back shots out of that ER PPC Crusader, and he's got small lasers, Direwolf there, so the Flea can't really jump the Crusader. So that is a relatively safe flanking mech. And these Grasshoppers, they're mid-range vomit, and they are playing at ranges that are, I would want more range than the ISLPL ER meat combo is giving those Grasshoppers for those positions that they are taking. Although that said, Mech Enjoyers are leaving the upper city and moving toward airport. They're leaving a Stalker behind though. Stalker 4N, I did not check that build. Okay, yeah, I had. It was 60 or large. Side torso is open. Okay, so Sir Ramrod is being left behind in the park, and the Phoenix Hawks are taking damage here, trying to get Theta back as it was flipped once more by the Flea. The Phoenix Hawks are not looking very healthy. Side torso is open on End My Suffering, who might have their suffering ended shortly. And Professional One Trick's got that open rear red and a lot of armor missing, 60%. Those are not very healthy Phoenix Hawks. And they need to get a cap here, because we are up to 400 caps from Darksea Corsairs. They're in the driver's seat right now. And they've got the better builds for closer range combat, so Mech Enjoyers needs to make a push here to get caps, but the DPS advantage is going to be going in Darksea Corsairs' favor when that push does occur. And the percentages are looking in their favor as well. This is... Yeah, okay, so here we have the Flea trying to go after the Crusader, but I mean, he's got 12 small lasers, so that Flea... I mean, that is not a mech you can dive, but the ER peeps are continually harassing your team in the back. You can't just ignore it. So that Crusader, if it had time to work, that Crusader could be a real difficult mech to deal with for Darksea Corsairs. Now, Theta's being flipped, the Flea's coming in. This could be a decisive fight. If that Flea dies, keep in mind that Darksea Corsairs, yeah, they do not have another cap mech. They do have a significant cap lead, but Kappa is being flipped as we speak.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
Kappa is not a legal cap, is it? Hold on. No, Kappa. Yeah, Kappa's legal. It's Sigma that isn't. Yeah, why am I thinking Sigma is Kappa? Okay, so we have an attempt at flipping Kappa here from the Crusader. Interesting. I mean, yeah, he's in the vicinity. And the caps are a serious proposition here. Royal Star's coming in with that Grasshopper. Getting the kill on this Crusader would be a big issue. Now, House, Royal Star, they're going to push this together. And this could be potentially match deciding. And my suffering has gone down in the Phoenix Hawk. Now, this is going to be a 3 cap for Mech Enjoyers if the Crusader pulls it off, but he's going to go down here to those Grasshoppers, I expect. Royal Star is at 60%, so not very healthy, but the kill goes to House, who brought in more armor.
Command confirming that we have
Did it
possession of
safely, didn't
Kappa.
push on his own from Royal Star, because Royal Star's open side torso, which was probably XL and CT, because the Grasshopper got a giant magnet on its CT. Tracks all the enemy fire right to the CT. So Mech Enjoyers, they made that play because they needed the caps. They ended up losing the Crusader for that, and the Crusader was a very valuable piece for them. Here we have the Stalker just making an absolute desperation push onto Theta. The Corsair, oh wow, probably went down CT. It had a decent percentage. Oh, headshot on carbon fire. Wow, that was Chicken Man, I believe, who pulled that kill off. Yeah, Banshee, open CT, Light Gauss, triple PPC. Well, that would take a head off if you hit that right component. Sir Ramrod trying to make the play for Theta. I mean, he's relatively fresh, and those are regular large lasers, not ER large. So, but look, it's 4v1. Like, ooh, Stalker goes down. Percentages are low on Dark Corsair's side, but even if DJ kills all of them, the caps are still heavily in their favor. This is basically, yeah, it's gone the way of Dark Corsair. And there was a headshot there. That is a, what was that on? The Corsair? I mean, the Corsair head's relatively exposed, but that mech still had a lot of fight left in it if the headshot had not occurred. But either way, I think this match is going Dark Sea Corsair's favor just due to superior cap situation. Grab the match ID here again. And looking at the damage, the Flea didn't get much damage, but they got the caps, so that is ultimately what led to the plays that led to the win. So in a roundabout way, the Flea won the game. Looking at the other mechs here, Corsair, Sir Epic Pawner, Corsair putting out 750 damage. That's the Gauss ER large, and the counterpart, Corsair, not putting out a respectable 400 before getting headshot. Phoenix Hawks, I mean, took a little bit of damage early, a little bit limited what they could do with the ranges. Phoenix Hawk can harass like a ER large mech pretty well, but against those laser vomit grasshoppers with that mid-range, faster burning damage, it's a little bit harder to Pop-Tart though. Damage spread relatively even though, but maybe that just came down to builds and positioning, having a little bit more DPS in the drop deck as opposed to a superior position for trading, but not having the cap control. I mean, Flea must have done an excellent job getting cap control with assisted by the grasshoppers, no doubt, but the repair Phoenix Hawks versus a Flea, I would generally favor the Phoenix Hawks for cap control in that situation. They do have less speed though, so maybe it just, yeah. Well done from Dark Corsairs. We have a tied match going into the 5th drop. So 5th match, you know, winner takes all. So big time plays coming up here, I would anticipate. Alright, teams are switching sides. I need to remember to switch to the logo side. Now, I do apologize if these logos are a little bit off-center. I'm going to pop the map strat up real quick here while the teams are readying up. Alright, we're on River City. Let's wipe this. Okay, so we got a little bit of a push out of Team 1. They didn't push to close range, though, as much as, well, they went to mid-range, not to brawl. They did take the Citadel location and trade mainly from Citadel. I'm not even sure if they ever wrapped a mech around toward the Sigma location or not. And then they were against the Mech Enjoyers, United Mech Enjoyers. They took Upper City, and then they rotated out of that along to trade positions from Airport and also from Lower City. And Lower City is not necessarily where I want to be trading from. Generally, I think the train is advantage, but it was large lasers versus light Gauss here, light Gauss and PPCs maybe. So maybe it was a range issue. Maybe that's why the Stalker went down, because it was a 6 large laser Stalker as opposed to a 6 ER large laser Stalker. Now the Crusader went on an interesting flank path, but unfortunately it was a little bit too late, too little. Or too little, too late. Sorry about that. So taking Kappa was a desperation play, but the cap control was it was being performed better from Dark Corsairs. They had Kappa, they had Theta for significant portions of time, and I think they even stepped on Epsilon briefly. But even just having Kappa denying Theta, Kappa flipped a couple times there, but Theta flipped a couple times, but Theta was more in the control of mech enjoyers overall, and their grasshoppers are in a pretty good position there for putting out good burns on anyone who tried to go for it, just playing from the back end of the Citadel. And the United Mech enjoyers, they were a little bit too low percentage when they did try to push, and their mechs maybe were not set up for it. And then that headshot on Carbon Fire's Corsair, I mean, that mech was still at like 80% or something when it got headshot. So that could have been a lot more damage absorbed and dealt if the headshot had not occurred. Yeah, that's a basic summary of what happened. I missed some of the early game maneuvers due to camera issues. My apologies. Not much. I don't know. I don't even know how I fixed it. I do know how I broke it, so I will make a better effort not to break the camera going forward. And we're just waiting here for Dark Corsairs. Dark Sea Corsairs, DSC, Dark Sea Corsairs. Yeah, new teams, new names. Trying to remember this all, and well, we're working on it. Sorry, was I on mute this entire time? Oh, I sure hope not. Well, here we go. This is drop 5. The series is tied 2-2. So Dark Sea Corsairs and United Mech Enjoyers, this is for the match win. Alright, we're just getting into the drop here now. I'm gonna not push buttons. Okay, now I can push buttons. I don't want to mess up that camera again. Alright, on the United Mech Enjoyers side, we have Moto Chi, Annihilator 2A, Corsair 7A, Crusader, Phoenix Hawk, and Firestarter. Now the Phoenix Hawk Firestarter, those are going to be small pulse lasers and stemless PPC small laser. I am betting I want to grab this Crusader build. I believe it's going to be, yeah, same thing, running it back, ERPPC, small laser. I like what he was trying to do last match with that, the Direwolf saying, but it did not work. It was a little bit too late. Carbon Fire is playing the Corsair that he got headshot in last match. Probably the same build. Yep, okay, going for a trade position, long range trade. The Annihilator is new. This is the first Annihilator we've seen. And AC5 light PPC, so mid-range Annihilator. And Moto Chi running the same thing. So that is not the ERPPC light Gauss trader.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
I'm hoping that's just their third Moto Chi. I haven't really been tracking, but they did use a Banshee last time, so I think so. I think they're still good here. Single light Gauss, 3 ERP on the Lamanshi Hero Mech Banshee. Non-Hero Banshee, again, 3 PPCs and a light Gauss. Warhammer mid-range, same as the Grasshopper build, just they don't have jump jets. I'm going to check to make sure they're all 3 the same, but I anticipate they will be. So Royal Star. Oh, large lasers, so not pulse lasers, okay. And large lasers. I thought the third one had the, I thought there was large pulse on this one. Yes, okay, so they do have a little bit of build variety coming out there. That might be an XL versus large or light engine difference there. House might be XL, Royal Star and Hollow might be light engine. Just speculating here. We'll see if we find out during the match. Early game, we have a minor amount of damage coming to Hydrokyle's Flea, and that seems to have enabled for Darksea Corsairs to have grabbed the Theta Cap, which could be key. They did take a little bit of damage doing so, but getting a cap, I mean, that Theta Cap seems to be fairly important here. We have movement out of the Flea. He's looking for some back shots on the Moto Chi. Does the Moto Chi have any indication? I mean, that Flea, okay, Flea's backing off, so I don't know if he thinks he got spotted. He definitely got spotted crossing there in the water, but he's evading the damage that's incoming. So we have trade positions. This could go relatively static. A lot of mid-range here with coming out of Darksea Corsairs again. They're playing mid-range Vomit with their Warhammers, controlling the water and the Citadel, and by extension they're putting a lot of pressure on Theta, which they have control of currently. We have a little bit of a fight here in the park. Phoenix Hawk is going after the Flea. The Firestarter is looking at crossing as well. Flea's just getting out though, and that is the safe choice. Light trading, not a whole lot of damage in the early game here. Direwolf Desang's down to 71% the Crusader, but that should still be a relatively heavy 71%. I'm not sure where they are located. I mean, the lights are probing here. They're looking for an angle, they're looking for a way in, but the assaults are being very well aware of that, and they are avoiding they're avoiding getting jumped. They're getting minor trades out, but there's no major damage yet. I'm looking for where that Crusader has gone off to. I'm not seeing it. There we go. Back of the Citadel, 69%. So trading with the ER peeps from Citadel, I suppose. Now the PPCs are going to be the side torsos, so that arm being open is not a very big deal. Those small lasers are very much a light deterring backup weapon, and as opposed to something that that Crusader is looking to rely on for damage. Theta's getting flipped again. So Mech Enjoyers has taken control of Theta, and they do have a cap lead. So this is in Darksea Corsairs. They're doing, you know, I'm noticing a bit of a pattern here where they seem to have better map control in terms of getting those caps. Now DJ is sneaking up with that Annihilator. Now I'm putting sneak there for an Annihilator. I think we all know that even if you paint your Annihilator black and you move very slowly, they're still going to see you. Not that you have much choice for moving quickly in an Annihilator. We still do not have a masked hero Annihilator in this game. But they're looking to grab Theta here with the Annihilator power positioning near it, and the Phoenix Hawk looks like they took some damage. Nope, there's a strike coming in on that Phoenix Hawk. And they get the decap and they get out. Yeah, the strike forced them out, but they did get the decap first, so that is important. They're going to go again for it. They're backing off just long enough for the strike and right back in there. And can anyone land a shot on that Phoenix Hawk? Yes, they have. So the cap has been stopped. The Phoenix Hawk is back off. They will have to try a third time. And every time they're taking a little bit of damage, and the Annihilator, who's doing the power positioning to buy the distraction here for the Phoenix Hawk to make that attempt, is going to be taking damage as well. Hydrokyle's positioning up with that Firestarter. Maybe they want to switch the Phoenix Hawk off of the cap and the Firestarter on the cap, but they did manage to get the cap on their third attempt here. So these caps, they're still in the favor of Darksea Corsairs, but they are going to be slowly flipping back in the favor of United Mech Enjoyers now. So these Warhammers just stacked up in the buildings. They are looking for shots here, but I'm not sure what kind of angles they've got. You know, that's not a bad positioning at all, but they don't have the best vision on the Theta cap from the city area, as we saw with the cap being flipped. Well, initially being decapped and then flipped. So they're not getting the angles quite what they need. Now Phoenix Hawk, 66% open side torso. That is going to be an XL build. The Crusaders at 50%, still has its arms, so yeah, it took a lot of torso damage between when we last looked and now. And I'm not sure if that Crusader is XL or not. DJ is still relatively healthy considering how they're positioning around Theta here. Percentages, I would say it's going in favor of Dark Sea Corsairs, but the caps they're having to make a push and are making a push. Here the Warhammers are attempting to catch someone, but that was a Phoenix Hawk and a Crusader. Both those mechs are long gone by the time the Warhammers make it across. But they are gaining perhaps favorable map area. House is peaking alone here. Okay, I guess because they don't have jump jets on their Warhammers. The Grasshoppers had jump jets, the Warhammers do not. So he had to walk around for that ramp. That is a long walk and a bit of a bad peak there to get a ramp. Royal Star is backing up like they're expecting someone to be here. The Flea is on Theta. Decap has been happened. The Flea is grabbing Theta. And looks like they're going to be successful. No, they bailed off. Wow. I think they needed like a half second longer. I'm not... I thought they would get it there. Crusaders going for... What is this, a flank angle or just reinforcing a cap? They're expecting the Flea. They might have spotted the Flea, or maybe they just expected the Flea to show up. This is going to be an ambush. Or they're leaving just before the Flea shows up. No, around. And the Flea is going to have to back off because of those small lasers. Now, yeah, Phoenix Hawk's reinforcing. The Flea, no, you just want to run, buddy. Flea takes a bit of a hit there. Cap situation's not desperate from Dark Sea Corsairs. They still have the lead with a 1-to-1 cap situation right now. Theta decapped. Don't have to make the push. Oh, DJ's Annihilator's taking some hard hits. Last I looked, they were at 80%. Now they are halved. And I imagine that's just due to trying to stop the Theta cap. They're going to need a little bit of help from their teammates here. Mechs are... Nobody's dead yet, but mechs are exceedingly low. Annihilator's down to a single light PPC in that center torso. Hydrokyle and the Firestarter, they are wounded. Mechs legs are healthy, but the side torso, that's an XL, and the CT's open. Alright, we got a little bit of action here on the corner. Yeah. Well, there's a bit of a crossfire coming in on these Warhammers. Between the Crusader and the Phoenix Hawk, no, they're backing off because they know that the Warhammers are looking their direction. But if the Warhammers are looking down toward Kappa, then they aren't looking at Theta. So I don't think this goes to Cap, but the caps, they're very relevant. I mean, we're almost at 500 caps out of Dark Sea Corsairs, and United Mech Enjoyers is at 400 themselves. I wonder what the damage is going to look like for traders here. I've not been watching to see how successful they've been with landing the damage, but there's a lot of time here for them to have been shooting. Now, this Lamanchi's getting jumped. Halved. But it's got the weaponry to one good shot here, and it could pick up a kill on either the Phoenix Hawk or the Firestarter. The Phoenix Hawk took a big hit, but the Lamanchi is about to go down. Banshee's down. Hydrokyle's moving around. They're going to clean up the heavily wounded traders now. Professional One Trick and Hydrokyle. They've got health to do it, mostly, but yeah, they're taking a back cap here. That is... Pick off the first casualty of the match, which is a ranged trader, picked off by the light squad after minutes into this match, and then taking a cap. That is a big move. Now, Dark Sea Corsairs has grabbed Theta, so they are not without a cap, but it is a 2-to-1 cap situation right now. Chicken Man is looking for them, and yeah, Chicken Man knows what's up. 77% Banshee, though. That has a lot of health to take hits, though. but they are needing to find a way to get caps, and they also need to save their Banshee from the hit squad here. So those Warhammers, they're splitting up. Oh wow, there we go. Chicken Man picks out Professional One Trick. Yeah, yep. It's got the PPFLD here on that Banshee to put mechs down. Like, it's still fully armed. Okay, DJ finally goes down in that multi-stick Annihilator. So Mech Enjoyers has losses now, and they are losing the cap situation with that Phoenix Hawk down. This match is probably going to go in favor of Dark Sea Corsairs now with that Phoenix Hawk down. Chicken Man's in a fight here. Moto Chi manages to take them down. Open CT, but there isn't much left. The Corsair from Carbon Fire, 90%. He's been sitting in the back plinking away with Goss and Ear Large this entire match. And now having to move up to try and grab cap. Probably needed to move up a little bit earlier. We'll see what their damage total looks like. If it could very well be over 1,000, but when the Annihilator up here from DJ was trying to control Theta, maybe the Corsair should have moved a little bit further up to support. Because it's been all about that Theta cap for basically the entire match. Hydrokyle is, I mean, they need to go get a cap, but there's Warhammers and Banshees all over the place in front of them. Yeah, Hydrokyle's basically out of health. Carbon Fire is now engaging, but they're getting jumped. It's like a 3v1. And they might be out of Gauss ammo for all I know. I mean, the match has gone on for like 8 minutes plus. So if they were getting shots the entire time, they're probably out of Gauss. So they're down to 3 ear large, is my bet. Yeah, and there we have it. So this match is going the way of Dark Sea Corsairs, a brand new team getting their first match win over United Mech Enjoyers. And there we have it. Looking at the damage totals, you know, they're not that high for how long the match was. I guess the traders were not as active as they might have been. Warhammer, Royal Star, 700 leading the pack. Moto Chi for Villain with almost 700 as well in the Moto Chi. Yeah, damage totals fairly even across the board. They are lower on the side of Mech Enjoyers. Just didn't get the angles with their faster movers trying to flank against those mid-range vomit Warhammers, I guess. DJ and the Annihilator's got a low damage total. Basically, the mech was sacrificed to try and get Theta. I don't know, they succeeded at flipping the cap back and forth once or twice using that Annihilator as a meat shield distraction. So the Annihilator worked in that regard, but didn't land damage due to the way it was sacrificed. So this is my first cast of ISC5, and the first match for both Dark Sea Corsairs and United Mech Enjoyers. And we have a 3-2 decision in favor of Dark Sea Corsairs. And Dark Sea Corsairs picks up their first match win for ISC, and I believe it's their first match win as a team. So congratulations to Dark Sea Corsairs. United Mech Enjoyers played quite well. The games were close. Even the early games were a little bit dominant wins for United Mech Enjoyers, but Dark Sea Corsairs pulls off the reverse sweep, losing the first 2 drops and then winning the next 3 to win the match. So well done for both teams, and thank you for allowing me to cast. And you know, I hope that everyone here enjoyed watching the cast despite some technical issues, and I look forward to casting a number more matches going forward. And that is all for me for tonight. I'll be back casting more matches, potentially Friday night or early Saturday morning, depending where you are in the world, and then either Saturday mid-morning or perhaps it's a Saturday late afternoon, depending where you are in the world. And just keep an eye out for not only my cast, but there's a number of other more skilled casters that are going to be doing a number of matches as well. So if you enjoy what you see, keep an eye out. There's going to be a bunch of casts coming up every weekend for the next 5 weeks. And you can go down to NWO Comp if you're a player interested in getting involved in the competitive scene. They have a Discord. You can find the link to that on the NWO Comp website. or just ask around in any MWO community, and you will find a link relatively shortly, I would hope. So thanks for joining me, and that's it. That's all.